Guys, Ferraris are so much easier to design than a Toyota. All right, so I put a Ferrari Purosangue on a Toyota RAV4 package. So on our previous podcast, we got a couple of very interesting comments, and this is what I want to talk about today. All right, we got a comment from Formula One Brave. Next episode, can you talk about the industry of design, boring direction, all the same, split headlights, massive grills, flat panels, etc. Is it regulation, lack of passion? Well, that's a very tough question. First of all, I want to answer you, it's never lack of passion. Designers in all companies, their passion is immense. They want to win the competition. They want to make the sexiest car out there. And so I'll break it down. My personal experience, I would say the heaviest thing comes from regulations and price. And I'll break it down to you. Before designers start a project, they get a lot of restrictions even before they start sketching. First of all, it's the price point of the car, and second, it's the dimension of the car. Keep in mind, not every car can look like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. There are cars that exist that are 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 cars. There are cars that need to fit 8 people in the cars. There are cars that need to put kids at the back of the seat. So many different cars, and not everybody can afford $200,000, $500,000 car. So where does that restriction come from the beginning is the real question. One of the perfect examples would be the crash bars in the side of the doors. People, like 99.9% of the people will never see this, but this is what designers have to go through. The side impact bar, basically it's a regulation when a car hits you when you're driving to the side of the door. Basically, you don't want to die. You want to minimize the injury as much as possible. How that looks like, this is how the door looks like inside. So basically, you're dealing with a huge impact bar that goes diagonally on the passenger seat and also diagonally on the rear of the seat. What this means to design is that you're restricted to get a nice barrel, a body that is so sexy, it tucks in and it looks full and it looks rich, but you're so restricted with the amount of space you have. Exterior designer on this planet would want a full body side where there's so much section that there's so many reflections and it looks sexy. Just like the Aston Martin DB10, for example. It has a very nice barrel and it's so pure and it's so sexy, but this is the reality. For cheap cars, there needs to be an impact bar. Why more affordable cars need this crash bar and needs a higher rating in insurance is because they need to get a 5-star rating for insurance to be as low as possible. Whereas drivers like Aston Martin or Ferrari, they can get away with the lower rating because they don't care, or they care less about paying $10,000 in insurance a year. Now let's talk about the proportion and the silhouette. The top is a CLA from Mercedes and the bottom is a C-Class from Mercedes. Same company, same designers. But why does the C-Class look so much sexier and the CLA looks a little bit stubby, for example? I mean, first of all, I don't even want to talk about the proportions of being front-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive, but let's look at the hood. Do you see how heavy and tall this hood is compared to the C-Class, where this line is way lower? Let's compare where the hood line starts to this line. You see how thick that is on the CLA? Let's compare it to a C-Class. This area looks much thinner than the CLA. And there's a reason behind this, something called bicycle and motorcyclist safety. This is when you're driving. So let's say you're looking at the front of a car. All of a sudden there's a bicyclist or a motorcyclist who's like driving 30, 40 miles per hour, and then they hit the car from the side. What's gonna happen to his head? His head is gonna bump into the hood. If you look at the inside of the car, there's an engine and then there's a hood. The gap between the hood and the engine has to be more than 50 millimeters so that when this bicyclist hits the hood, it doesn't hit at the hard engine. it hits at the hood to make it bend. So that's a safety regulation, which is very strict. What that means is that you can't push the hood down so much. A lot of luxury vehicles, they came up with the solution. They want to keep the hood low, they want to keep the profile sleek, fulfill all the regulations too. So they came up with something called an active hood. So when there's an impact from the side, this hood all of a sudden pops up to give that minimum gap between the engine and the hood. Now this one costs about 75 euros, and cheaper cars like the CLA, they could not afford to invest close to 100 euros every single car. So that's why this hood looks very stubby compared to the C-Class, where C-Class you can sell it for more expensive price and you can invest on an active hood. All right, now let's talk about the side profile of the car, because I talked about the hood. Now, why does all the front look very similar? Obviously, there's so many regulations involved in it. So let's talk about the G82 M4 side view as an example. If you draw a line, you see the grille is not the farthest point out. It's actually the bottom part, which is sticking more out than the grille. And a lot of people are saying, oh, the shark nose of the BMW in the 70s and 80s were fantastic. Why can't they bring that back? But there's an obvious reason behind it. For example, there's a person walking on the crosswalk, and then this car is driving, let's say 40 miles per hour. Where is it gonna hit this guy first? Obviously, you wanna hit it from the bottom so that this guy, after the impact, his head falls on the hood. Where I mentioned the safety regulation, the hood is usually aluminum, so it bends. So he doesn't get a major damage on his head. The problem is with older cars, they didn't have that regulation because the regulation wasn't refined enough. So they could get away with the shark nose. But now in this era, imagine a guy walking and this car hits him from here. What's gonna happen? Now I'll leave that up to your imagination. As a designer, I drew like a really aggressive Mercedes, but in real life, with the regulation, this is not possible. It's because you have to be able to see the other side of the headlamp from a 45-degree angle. And I want to explain to you about this regulation. It's a really funny regulation. Let's say there's a car driving this way and it's about to turn left. And then you see a car here that is about to turn right. So when the driver sees it from 45-degree angle, you have to be able to see the other side of the headlamp from here. The reason is because at night, if you can't see this headlamp, you're gonna be mistaken that this is not a car and this is just a motorcycle, for example. So this guy is gonna turn more aggressively, which could cause a potential crash. So there's a regulation, you have to see the other side of the headlamp at a 45-degree angle. So I just touched on really some of the regulations that I could remember. And with all these restrictions, would you be able to design freely? Whew, designers are restricted, guys. But now look at this. The same SUV fitting 4 people, but a $500,000 Ferrari Purosangue and a $33,000 Toyota RAV4, you can completely see the difference in proportions. First of all, there's so much more volume on the side of the door, where RAV4, they're so restricted because of the crash test rating. They don't have to care about the tightness of the cabin. It doesn't matter because it's a Ferrari. They don't need to put four kids at the back or care about the suitcase or golf bags, where RAV4, which is a very utility-oriented vehicle, you need a lot of space in the cabin. Let's imagine this Ferrari on a RAV4 package. All right, so I put a Ferrari Purosangue on a Toyota RAV4 package. Can you still say this is sexy? I don't know, to my eyes, it looks very awkward. So as I mentioned previously, Ferrari designers are not necessarily better than Toyota designers. They're dealing with better package, better regulations, lower crash test rating, so they have much more freedom of design they can do. And again, to piggyback on the questions on the comment, it's not about designers don't have passion. is really about the regulations that is getting tighter and tighter and tighter every year, which designers are struggling so hard to think outside the box, but the restrictions are so much. There's very limited design that they can do. If you have more questions, just feel free to write comments as detailed as possible. We'll definitely look at all the comments and get back to you with more contents like this. Muchas gracias.